A lot of people, I think, maybe confuse thinking creatively with just thinking differently. Is that the same thing?
Many people believe that to be creative you've got to wear a funny tie and so on. And in the art world that may have value, but generally creativity has to have value. It's like if someone says doors are normally rectangular, I'm going to make a triangular door. Isn't that creative? And he says, but what's the value? Unless there's a value, it is not creativity. In fact, I've invented another word for it. It is crazytivity. Just being different for the sake of being different is crazytivity.
You mentioned in your book about the concept of a new ideas champion. You mentioned it was particularly well used in DuPont. So can you just tell us about what the role of a new ideas champion is and how it can be measured by the organisation?
Well, the story of the DuPont was there was a fellow there called David Tanner who came to a seminar I gave in Toronto, became very motivated. He invited me down to speak to DuPont on several occasions, to all the different groups and so on. He essentially became the ideas champion within DuPont, arranged for training, set targets for people. Now he's left DuPont, is working on his own as a consultant. But he became the fellow who people went to with ideas, who would talk to people who had ideas and so on. You need someone who's specifically concerned with looking after ideas, listening to ideas, taking them further, putting the person with ideas in contact with the person who can do something about it, all that sort of thing. Because otherwise it just doesn't happen. Very often people with ideas don't have the political skills to know who to talk to, how to present the idea, and so on. You need someone on the side of the ideas person.
To what extent has the CEO, do you think, got to back creativity for it to really work in an organisation?
In my experience, unless the CEO shows an interest in creativity, it simply does not happen. It's very difficult to drive creativity up an organisation from some people in the middle or the bottom saying, we want to be creative for change, unless the CEO makes it clear that creativity is an expectation, that people are expected to have ideas, are expected to find simpler ways of doing things, then nothing happens. Because people do what they're expected to do. And if they don't see being creative as part of the rules of the game, they're not going to bother. It's too much hassle and too risky. So the CEO is essential in setting that tone, setting that mode.
New ideas are just that, they're new, so there's going to be an element of risk associated with them. So a lot of organisations may be thinking, with the economy as it is, this is not the time to take on more risk, we're in enough risk as it is. So tell me about the role of creative thinking in an economic downturn that we're in now.
You're quite right. People often think of new ideas as being new products, new services, and that's risk, that's investment, you're not sure it's going to work. But new ideas are just as essential in simplification, cutting costs, doing things in a better way. And that's not risk, and it's very helpful. So in times of recession, you may need a lot of creativity. How do we simplify things? How do we cut costs? And so on.
And that brings in the lateral thinking.
Oh yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Talking about that, do you have any thoughts on what organisations should be doing more of in an economic recession?
Well, not specifically, but clearly they need to see how to survive in the recession. To be fair, a little bit cynical, many of them will use the fact or the imminence of recession as a good excuse to get rid of a lot of staff, which at other times might be difficult to do, but to say, no, recession, we've got to lay off 5,000 people, and I'm sure that will happen. I'm not saying I encourage it, but that will happen. So rethinking the organisation happens, and doing things in a simpler way, important. And also looking for new alliances, perhaps, yes.
Could you just give us an example of any ideas using your lateral thinking that you've come up with to solve any problems in the last few months?
Yes, I was talking actually to someone, because I'm speaking in South Africa at Soccer X in November, which is, I think it's 4,000 people from all over the world, 90 countries represented. And in soccer, when there's a draw, you have extra time, and if there's still a draw, you have a penalty shootout. Now, penalty shootout is a matter of luck, or having one guy who can shoot penalties. So my idea is to reflect the whole game. So every time the goalkeeper touches the ball, that side gets minus a point. So at the end of the game, draw, extra time, if they're minus 50, they're minus 20, they win. Now this encourages shooting at goal, discourages passing back to the goalkeeper, and it reflects the whole game. And I was talking to this fellow who runs Soccer Act, and he said, yes, he said he likes that idea very much. Yes.
Absolutely. Let's go to the next World Cup, and maybe that will give England a chance.
Well, maybe.
Bevo.com